think most people, it would be safe to say that most people subscribe to the belief that you should deal with your problems and that you should fix your problems. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely not true, not exactly. You should not fix your problems because your problems are produced by you and your way of thinking, your way of operating, and your way of fixing problems. Einstein is credited with a quote that goes, a problem cannot be solved by the way of the same thinking which produced the problem. And another quote from the Bible is, if you want to get to a place you've never been, then you must go by a way you have never gone. And when we look at the problems that we have to solve, the daunting ones, I'm talking about the ones that we generally put off solving or just haven't solved yet, the problems that we kind of, I really should meditate more, or I really need to, I need to start doing this more. I should really, or maybe there are problems that we're not aware of, but other people, I wish that he would really, drink less. He's got a drinking problem, or like, dude, I really need to get my diet under control. I can't fucking keep staying up, late at night, eating, full boxes of mochis and Fruity Pebbles, because that's a problem and I really should solve it. And it's really my problem and I'm really responsible because no one else is. And in some sense, that's absolutely true. I'm here to tell you that if you try to solve your problem like that, you will just produce another version of the problem because you are applying the same thinking to the solving of the problem that produced the problem in the first place. If you want to get to a place you've never been, then you must go by a way you've never gone. If you want to solve a problem that has persisted, then you need to try something new. And by something new, I don't mean simply a reorganization of your same old thoughts. It's absolutely necessary when you have a persistent problem to approach it from a higher level of consciousness than the one that has produced it and persisted it. So the conclusion here is that if you have a problem that has persisted and you really think you need to solve it, not only do you not need to solve it, or you're not responsible for solving it, but you literally can't. You created it. You have kept it in place. You are powerless to solve it. The only thing that can solve that problem, and whatever your problem is these problems, everyone's got a different one and set of problems, but you got them, and you can't solve them. They stay where they are until you reach a higher level of consciousness. And so, the conclusion here is don't solve your problem, just meditate more. Just reach a higher level of consciousness and watch that problem get solved. You can only, I'm getting so tired, I don't want to go. This video's bad. It's a really good idea, but I just don't have the fucking bandwidth right now. It's a good idea, dude. The thing is, if you're eating Fruity Pebbles late at night, that's probably crashing from all those Fruity Pebbles I ate last night. If your problem is that you're, staying up all night eating Fruity Pebbles like I did last night, you are only going to decide to do that when your level of consciousness dips low enough to be on that vibe of thinking that that's a good decision. And if you stay up a little bit too late, you're a little bit too tired, you didn't, you didn't execute enough of those spiritual practices to keep yourself in that high vibe, then you find yourself in a mental place where you're at risk to perpetuate your problem. That's what I did last night. I heard the fucking yawn. That's what I did last night. That's why I was up late eating those Fruity Pebbles. And that's why I just don't feel like doing this journal entry right now. Because although I know that this is a cool idea, it's like my vibe's just a little bit low at the moment. And I want to also make a closing point, and that is that the idea to always stay high and always and to avoid a low vibe is unnatural. Nature always goes like this. It's called a sine graph, sine cosine graph. It's the shape of a helix as well. It's the way nature works in an oscillating way. There's ups and downs, and you know that, but I want to stress the sentiment that the point, the goal in life should not be to avoid the downs and just always stay up. The point should be to have a strong enough practice and enough strong relationships and I don't want to say defense mechanisms, but kind of positive momentum to see you through the low points, because the low points should not be avoided. See, down here there's beauty. Down here is like you lose a parent, something in your life, a death happens and you have to mourn that person, and you go deep down, and it's rich and beautiful and sad. It's like a sad movie. You don't want to avoid that. You don't want to like lose someone in your life and they die and you're just like, I feel fucking great. No, you're gonna go down. The point is, when you go down, to be a strong enough person to be able to persevere that, to have enough armor, enough spiritual armor to have this resilience, that even though you're going down into those depths where the pressure is so strong that it'll crush a submarine, like those guys who are visiting the Titanic, and just smush them, you have a stronger practice that allows you to go down and to be sad and to feel pain without losing yourself and losing your fucking mind and blaming people and taking it out on the rest of the world and giving up. No, you want to hit those low points and you want to be present for them. And in order to do that, you gotta have that practice. You gotta have that spiritual armor. Because vibes will get low, the point of the goal in life is not to avoid those low points, but to be able to flow through them, because it doesn't stay down. Nature doesn't stay low. It brings you back up and then it brings you back down. This is how it goes, and it's always going to be that way. And likewise, it's important to have a plan in place and to be prepared for those high times too, because if you got an ego like mine, when you get high and you make a lot of money, or you seem to be in the good graces of everybody, that's a dangerous place to be as well, because it feels good and you get high and you go, whoa, but then you get that temptation to be the big shot, Mr. Cool Guy, and you can start losing yourself that way too. So, in the words of the Bhagavad Gita, you will know the enlightened one, because in joys he's not overjoyed, and in sorrows he's not oversorrowed. When light, when high times, when good vibes come, he lets them come and he lets them go, and when sadness comes, when sorrow comes, he lets it come and he lets it go. He's a sojourner in this. This adventure of life. That's not verbatim, took some liberties with that Bhagavad Gita quote, but yeah, don't worry about solving your problems. Just pray and meditate, elevate your level of consciousness, awaken that infinite intelligence that's within all of us, and let that do the solving, because when you are at a high level of consciousness, you will not choose to make the decisions that lead to your problems. You will not have a desire to make the decisions to eat a bunch of fruity pebbles. You won't want to do that. And the other thing is the unconscious action, habits, the things in our life that are on autopilot it's very important for us to have the ability to do things without thinking, unconsciously. They say like 99% of our life is dictated by the influence of our subconscious. And that's because 99% of our actions are our foundation. And we want to be standing on a high foundation. So when I talk about our unconscious actions, I'm talking about like our heart beating, our our neurons firing, our stomach digesting. I'm talking about like the muscle twitch fibers that happen all over your body when you just perform simple actions. Like this is such a complex action to just like be triangulating this with my eyes and knowing where it is and reaching out and catching it and like calculating trajectory and gravity and all that stuff. But that's all happening on autopilot. That's all happening unconsciously at the level of unconsciousness. And it makes a foundation that you can stand on top of, and you can make decisions like, should I eat Fruity Pebbles or not? And that decision, whether to eat Fruity Pebbles or just pray and meditate and go to bed early, that decision is always made consciously. And it is our privilege to be standing on top of a massive foundation of unconscious but eloquently performed actions that just allow us to use our consciousness. But when we take decisions that should be made consciously and we make them during times where our level of consciousness is just low, like when we're tired and when we're just getting up in our head or fatigued, and we choose to try to make a conscious. We're not making a conscious decision. We're making an unconscious decision when we should be using our consciousness to decide how to properly provide nutrients to our body. So we're eating Fruity Pebbles instead of just getting going to bed and not eating. You're not supposed to eat like right before bed. It's like a bad move, apparently, according to health and wellness norms. So yeah, don't try to solve your problems because you'll try to do it from a low place of consciousness and only perpetuate them. Instead, work on your practices that elevate your consciousness to a place where you naturally make good decisions, because we have that internal intelligence. All of nature has it. Like humans are no exception. Daisies blossom, and ecosystems of rainforests thrive, and even the rocks and the dirt form into beautiful crystals if you give them a few million years or whatever that takes. There is an intelligence in this world, and like, trust me, the motherfucking like most advanced organisms that we're familiar with, human beings, are no exception. Like that intelligence, that high level of consciousness is fully available to us. We just gotta follow the practices that take your pick, man. There's so many different religions, and what they have in common is they provide they offer us as individuals practices that can help us to access the infinite wisdom that all of nature, like that rocks and rolls and creates entire galaxies and shit, like that shit is available to us. And that's why I'm just like, I don't know, I'm at a place where I'm ready to stop, or I'm ready to work on stopping feeling guilty for not having the ability to solve the problems that, like eating Fruity Pebbles late at night that I haven't been able to solve yet. It's not my job. My job is not to discipline myself not to eat Fruity Pebbles right before bed. My job is not to white knuckle it and be laying in bed thinking about wishing I had some Fruity Pebbles. My job is to pray, meditate, and elevate my consciousness to a level where I don't desire fruity pebbles right before bed and other good decisions.